All right, we are back with you for another commentary segment on today's Activated Mornings program. And you have in studio with you Dianna Cain and myself, Roleza Samuel, your host for today. There's a reason why I started so loud. Poor Rajiv. All right, so I've discussed good morning to you, Rajiv, and I hope that your International Men's Day celebrations were great yesterday. They were,
Oh
we work on
no.
that for next year, right? Work on that for next year. All right, so we are back with you. Remember that you can get interactive with us at the number 4579997. That is the direct number to call. That is also the number that you can call us on WhatsApp. All right. We are also already live on Facebook and on YouTube. All right. The persons on the live, you can probably just let us know if things have been sorted. You know, our trusted their technician came in to assist us, help us females in this department only. All right. So we're happy that Rajiv is here with us. All right. So you can just probably let us know on the live if things are better at this time. Okay. So let's jump into our topic for
Oh, they're not.
Okay. Uh, Boy, it's interesting that we're doing this testing on the live and speaking live on radio.
Yes.
All right, we would figure it out. All right, we are still sounding distant on the live. All right. All right, so we noticed that the police, they have made several statements with regards to changes that they wish to see here, particularly
Yes. Yeah.
with drivers, right? Drivers, van drivers, trailer truck drivers. Yeah, there are changes that they wish to see. So we're just going to make mention of a few. In the space of last week and this week, several articles came out. All right. So we're just going to highlight a few of them. All right. If we note or remember this morning in our traffic talk, the officer mentioned the attire of
Okay,
conductors.
somebody says it's much better. Alrighty, something's
Hey,
happening.
I should move the camera, do the dance again. All right, Raj, you did a little dance here for those of you who didn't see it. All right. All right. So thanks very much, Raji, for your assistance. And there you go, off screen to the left, stay the direction to the left. All right. So thanks very much for that, Raji. All right. So let's get into it now. So we know that this morning in traffic talk that the police officer spoke about the attire of conductors. I will be very honest. I always hated not being in the conductor seat. You know, when you're in the conductor seat and they had a stand over you, one of the most uncomfortable positions to be in, especially as a female, right?
Yeah.
You know, there was this thing too when I was as a child, you had to kind of sit between their leg. So your foot would be closed, your legs would be closed, and there's open, and you have to sit in that position. Listen, let me tell y'all, it's not very comfortable.
It's not.
Right? And it's interesting that we're saying these things because these are the things that we kind of grew up with that have been accepted as the norm in terms of the van culture that we have here in SVG. It is a very uncomfortable position to be in, especially when you're in your teens. I mean, maybe at any age, but especially in your teens, it felt truly uncomfortable. I've never been happy of having a conductor stand over me. I would not be happy with anybody standing over me, right? Not just a conductor, but anybody standing over me. And the police officer did speak about the attire. And why it says I asked is because a proper attire, appropriate attire, can have a different definition to different persons. I know that There are some young people when they go in for interviews, what it is that they wear. For some persons, what they wear to work, for them it's proper attire, but to rest of other persons looking on, it's not. So this is why it is I was trying to get from him in terms of specifically what it is that they are going to term as proper attire, right? He did mention, yes, wearing clothing with sleeves, a shirt with sleeves. Pants should not be below the waist because
and above the knee.
Nobody needs to see what you have on underneath, you know. Pants should also be maybe to the knee or just slightly above the knee. What else? Something basic as your clothes should be washed.
Armpit. Oh.
Your clothes should be washed.
And
you
so
know?
should you.
And so should they. Yes, correct. Correct. You know, I realize, and it's not even just to pull them down, but I sometimes have to stop and think about when you leave home on a morning, how you leave home is how you're kind of presenting yourself to the world. Like for me, one of the most difficult things was to get into a van and realize that they didn't even brush their teeth. Right? They didn't even brush brush them out that morning. And again, as I'm saying, it's not to pull down conductors, but we do recognize that there are things that many of us find obnoxious when we take vans, and to them, it's just a common day occurrence. It doesn't matter to them, but it does matter to us. And the reason why it should matter to them is that we are your customers. And across the board, we are expecting proper customer service.
Yes. And that's the thing, you know, that's the thing. And we've mentioned this before. Are they looking at us like customers? You know, in terms of the way they treat us. I am very happy. Right now, traffic department is my favorite department in the police force. That's my department. But it is not, I'm watching them. I'm seeing that they're saying these things are in place and they will be clamping down on these things. But I wanted to say, charge them. Okay?
Right.
I already, from the other day, when I heard the officer say, if the van does not take you down to the bus terminal where it is supposed to take you, you can come into the traffic department and you can make a report. I ready. Anybody drop me halfway. I don't care. They will be upset. They will say, I'm a snitch. I'm informed. I don't care. Safety is first and I want the service you're supposed to. So I'm so happy to hear them say that. And they also said that the vans are not supposed to refuse to pick you up. So unless there is a very good reason for them to not pick you up, if they don't have a very good reason not to pick you up when you stop them or to stop for you when you stop them, you can go into the police station. And you know, come to think of it, I should have made a report because three of them passed me straight the other day because they were racing with each other and refused to stop. I should have go station and give valid. I say, you get off with that one. That was your free trial.
Right. And you know what?
Yeah.
Why it is that I appreciated hearing the officer say that is many persons have been complaining about this particular issue in terms of the vans not dropping them at the appropriate bus terminals, right? And the thing of it is that persons need to realize that if you go with a collective voice or a collective mission, things can change and things can get better. So in this case, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a case of you telling the driver, I am going to take your name to station, right? You don't even have to tell them in advance. What you do is that you go and you make your report. If 10, how much are vans supposed to carry? 18 persons? If 18 persons are let off at a stop that is not the designated bus terminal and everybody says, okay, within the course of the day, you might be able to get to go right away. Let's say if you're going into work, but you say during the course of the day, you go and you make a report to the station. There is power, there is strength in unity. And persons have to unite in this regard. And look at it, nobody would necessarily know it is you.
Exactly.
All right. So we have a call at this time. Have to unite in this regard. And look at it. Nobody. That's how I sound. My gosh. Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning. You know, some folks ask me, do you live in St. Vincent or Bermuda? Now,
Both.
I live in Bermuda. Bermuda is my home, but up until 2 years ago, I visited St. Vincent quite often, sometimes twice a year. And on the issue of the bus, the conductors, I wouldn't rent a car, but then I'm so scared now, so I no longer rent a car when I come there. One of the annoying things is to have some smelly guy, showing more crack than anything else. And then on the arm, my wife called it snow under the mountain or something like that. They have all this cheap
deodorant
underarm thing, smelling like a sewer. I remember once I took a bus from Arnesville, Macy's I think it's called, or the supermarket in Arnesville. When the guy got to the girls' high school at the entrance to the NDP, the bus driver stopped and he said, I have to come off here now because I'm turn wrong. So
that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I came out of the bus and I walked away. The conductor came running behind me. No, hey, you have to pay.
Good.
So I said, pay what? You have to pay the fare. I said, listen, man, I came into your bus thinking that you're going to take me to Hamilton. Sorry, not Hamilton.
Kingston.
Kingston. This is not Kingston. Well, you have to pay. I said, sir, if you touch me once more, of course I wouldn't do anything, You are the one who would be paying. And I walked away. I did not pay a fare because the man not take me where I'm supposed to go.
Yep.
And that has to stop. And on a more positive note, I'm always happy when I hear you guys bigging up, as you said, bigging up Vincentians. Here in Bermuda, I've lived there for 46 years, and with the exception of 2 individuals, every Vincentian that's been here to work excelled in every area. You guys do St. Vincent proud. That's one of the reasons I fly flags from my house every day. I wear it around my head. I fly it from my car. So when anybody asks me, what's this about? I could talk about, there's nothing wrong with St. Vincent. My issue is with my people. So trust me, you do St. Vincent proud. I'm not going to call any names because some folks don't want the names called, but every area. One guy I must mention, he's from Billy Gomez area. He is a sanitary engineer. What you people call road cleaner or something like that.
I hate trying to figure out what you mean by sanitary engineer. Jeez. The way in which we polish these professions. These jobs.
Yes. He has I must share this. He has a special area that he cleans up. This guy is retired and he's gone back to work. Every morning you see him, he's cleaning up all, he takes pride. I mean, and this is a job that people look down on in St. Vincent, but he takes pride in what he does. We've got doctors, we've got lawyers, we've got even me, a pain in the behind. I am the best at that. So I am proud of St. Vincent. St. Vincent produces a lot of good people, and I like to hear more positive stories. Like I said, I'm not going to call anybody's name because some people like to remain in incognito. Right? But anyway, public transportation, cut out the dirty music. Somebody get in your bus, take them where they're going. Because if I come down there and I ride in a bus and you don't take me away, I ain't paying nothing.
All right, Joshua, thanks.
Love you guys. Yeah. Oh, Anita, love you. I didn't hear Dave yesterday. I expected to hear Dave
I know, right?
Speaking on the issue of men. Dave, I'm really disappointed in you. It's not too late. Let me hear you this morning. Have a good day, ladies.
All right, Joshua.
That's how these people like to call out Dave for me.
He will call just now. Yeah, so right. So we were talking about the issue of conductors. We were talking about the collective stance in terms of if you are not taken to your destination. So apart, one of the other things, so apart from them not taking to your destination, as Joshua indicated, one of the things that I would do, like if I'm going in a van and let's say it's supposed to carry me to Tokyo, and to get to Tokyo, let me use the fare from Bucament. So that was $3. I think it's still $3 from Bucament to town, right? And if they don't carry me, let's say they leave me by Massey and they turn around, you're getting $2, right? You could while up all you want, you're getting $2. Yeah. The reason why you did not drop me where I was supposed to go or supposed to end up. So sometimes it's these little things that we could try as well. Walk with the coins instead. Yes. Don't let them make change.
Yes. Seriously.
Don't let them make change. So if they do the short drop, you short pay them as well as you go report them. Right?
Yeah. And that's one of the things too. They would drop you halfway and they expect you to pay them full price. And they do this to the children a lot. And it's so upsetting. The children are supposed to pay $1. Let's say from Kittles to Clare Valley, the children are supposed to pay $1. Well, they're supposed to pay $1 no matter where they go. But you want to take the children and leave them on Marlene Hill or leave them up by the community center and expect them to give you the full $1. I tell my son, listen to me. I say, find some 25 cents. And when they leave you there, first of all, they shouldn't even be paying. But if you do pay 50 cents, and if they make noise with you, you go your way. And he would tell me, say, some conductors would tell him it's $1. I say, well, let them carry you where they're supposed to carry you. And they
take it up with my mother.
And that too.
Yeah,
and
take it
that
up with
too.
my mother.
They're supposed to carry them with, and they do that to the children a lot. They do that to the adults. They drop them anywhere, and they still expect to get their money. So they want to not give us the proper service. But the minute you hear gas gone up and fare gone up, they were ready to tell you, hey, nah, this is not the money anymore. They want their money. We want our full service too.
And as you speak on the issue of children, so growing up as a child, I also had this issue where you are trying to stop a van. And because you are a child, they do not stop for you.
Correct.
Listen, y'all just contribute to cussing and plenty of children getting licked, sir. I witnessed it the other day because some children were trying to stop a van. What time was it? It was probably like 3:30 minutes to 4, right? And I'm there saying they're trying to stop, they're trying to flag down the van, and the van refused to stop. The van just speed. And it wasn't that it was full, right? But because they know that the money that they're getting from these children is going to be less than they're getting from the adults, they leave the children on the road. Now, my thing is that these children have to get home, right? You cannot look at it. And it wasn't even a case of, let's say, them being on the street too late. So you have to question why it is that they're on the street, right? But if every van chooses not to stop for them, then they are going to be there, right? So this is another thing. But I remember as a child here, I remember as a child, there was a particular van that always used to just pass me straight. I would stop it. Well, this is when I was going to secondary school. I would try to flag it down and it would not stop. So, Dianna, you know what it is I had in my mind? I said, you wait till I become an adult. You will not get my money. And that was the thing, because I said, if you cannot stop for me as a child, you don't want my halfway. I'm going to grow up at some point.
Exactly.
You know, so make all the old style you want to tell me when I'm young. I would make the old style when I get older. You know, and this is what it is that I talk about when you talk about customer lifetime value, because if you recognize me as a customer for a lifetime, if I'm living in a particular area or community, as long as I don't have my own private transportation, or even when I do have my own private transportation, something goes wrong with it, there are going to be instances that I would have to use public transportation, right? So you can't be looking at it as a case of you don't want to take up the children because they're not paying the full fare and you trying to capitalize on the full fare. If you look at me as a customer for a lifetime, you will get my money for a lifetime.
I usually say if some of these adults only know how these van drivers treat their children on the road, they will never ride these vans. Some of these van drivers treat the children real bad. They don't want to pick them up. And some of them, I understand that some children would spend their passage money, especially in the afternoon, and don't have any to pay. Yeah, that's one of the issues. They would spend their money and don't have any to pay the van. And I can understand you're running a business and you want to get your money. But apart from that issue, generally, they really do treat the children bad. They pick them up if they feel like pick them up. Some of them, they drop them anywhere they feel like dropping them. Like going over to Clare Valley, they would quickly throw them out. Come out here, walk, go down. So we could pick up some people. They do that. And and my thing is, you treat the children this way, but then you run into the children's parents. You want them to catch your van and you want them to do this. It's we need something. Somebody said here they believe that we should have conductors workshop to deal with some of the issues, including their attitude. Some of them indeed are very rude. I hate to see how some of them treat the elderly. Oh my goodness, the elderly will be coming into a van and they will be telling them, "Come, hurry up, hurry." How could you be hurrying somebody like that? Listen. They do treat them bad sometimes. The elderly, maybe I've been in vans where their music is a bit too loud, and an older person would speak up and they would say, "Mommy, well, it's so we are the music, and Mommy, you could come out," things like that, and it's horrible.
And not just that, when I think of the speeding sometimes, so if the van in full, you ain't anchor properly, right? Because if this seat has on the plastic, you're sliding left to right, you're sliding. And I've seen instances where you have an older person on the seat and they do not know how to brace themselves, right?
Yeah.
They can't necessarily lean forward to hold on. They don't know how to position their hands or whatever, but it's difficult for many of them. So, it's a lot that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if we actually think of van drivers and conductors as a profession in a sense, maybe we would get better service from many of them. All right. So we see that, so going back to the article, what is his name? ASP Panel Brown. So he made mention of the music that's playing in vans, etc. So he's mentioning that, or reminding passengers that the power lies with them. All right. If you're not happy with whatever is happening, you report it to the police. All right.
Yes.
Additionally, in police traffic, motorists news. So police to get tough with aggressive trailer truck drivers. So this is also another issue that we have. So some local truckers who operate tractor trailers, and I'm reading all of these from Searchlight newspaper, by the way. Some local truckers who operate the tractors, trailers, container trucks, also known as the 18-wheelers or big rigs, are on a regular basis creating unsafe motoring situations for themselves and other drivers. I can tell you, these guys believe to themselves that they own the road. You see trailers, trucks, Catman, them they own the road, right? And Catman does give you the most attitude, right? So if you want to know who actually quote unquote own the roads in Vinci, it's trailers, trucks, and Catman. But I digress. Let me continue. All right. Let's say this call coming in quickly. All right. Hi, caller. Morning.
Yeah, it's me. I must call because I have to mention this. There's a bus that comes from Wynwood. It looks like ice cream. I think Asha Mustushu or something like that. Is one of the big buses. Those guys are. I remember I was in Cedars and the bus stopped. I was amazed. The conductor came off the bus and actually assisted me to get on the bus because I walk with a cane. I'm not crippled or anything, but I walk with a cane. And when the bus stopped, the guy helped me off the bus again. And the following morning, I wasn't at the bus stop in time. And he spotted me. I guess he assumed that I was riding the bus. He actually waited for me about maybe 4 minutes or so for me to get up to the bus. Then the conductor got off the bus again and helped me onto the bus. I cannot remember the name of the bus, but it's like I said, it looks like an ice cream and it has a name like Mush something. Maybe somebody knows the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Probably.
All right.
I just had to add that.
No problem. No problem, Joshua. All right. So, so the article speaks of, so sometimes without warnings, these guys drive their vehicle in an aggressive way that they turn up on you without alerting you, right? And this is what we speak about when they do not sound their horn or they don't have a pilot, a driver in front of them to alert us that trailers our trailer truck is approaching. All right. So the police are also going to be cracking down on these. He said, this is ASP Brown. He said, we are asking the owners and operators of these trailer trucks to start operating with more common sense. Because what they are doing can cause accidents, incidents, injuries, and loss of life. Yeah. All right. So Brown pointed out, while also adding that, so some of the trailer trucks and open loads are secured and some are not secured at all. So that is also a situation. And I think we have seen 2 incidents, at least for the year, the latter part of the year so far, where it seems as if the containers are slipped off of the bed, right? So that is also another situation that they have to monitor, right? I can't sum this up to human error because with something as serious and as dangerous as this, you're really supposed to double check everything before leaving, all right? Be that as it may, if the container is not properly secured and you are also driving in an aggressive manner, you could understand what is going to happen there, right? Just absolute mayhem. All right. So again, to trailer truck drivers, as ASP Brown said, it's just a little bit of common sense. You know, you're approaching a corner. The corner ain't straight. You must sound your horn, right? Sound your horn and sound your horn in due time, and also have a proper working horn. Because if you're blowing a soft horn, how are we going to hear? You know? So just utilize a bit of common sense, please.
Please. And you know, I take back now. The listeners know how I feel about these trucks and these trailer trucks, and I am just waiting to see what is going to happen with these people. I don't want to hear any fatality from any container. I am not sitting around waiting to hear that news. I do not want to hear that. I really, really don't want us to have to face that in the country. So, oh gosh, drivers, please, just follow what you're supposed to follow. We've been talking about this thing. Must be a conversation going on for years now. Let this be the last year in SVG that we have to talk about drivers and, well, drivers of trucks, vans, containers on the road. Yes, last year.
All right. Well, it's more in terms of the police's efforts from here. They've been speaking. They've been hearing, so it's in terms of what it is that they're actually going to do to enforce, right?
Yes.
And in the final story in relation to police and road matters, so another article states that police increase vigilance on visiting motorists. So this is in relation to, we know that every Independence time, we have an influx of persons of other nationalities here in SVG, right? Call them bike boys. Well, it's biker boys and other cars and other vehicles that are also coming as well, right? And there are times, I know that in the past, I think at least one person has died from a visiting delegation who, I think he was performing a stunt and he died, right? So there are several times when we are in traffic or we are driving along or journeying, and we notice that some of these persons who come in for the independence celebrations, that they are driving in a reckless way, right? Performing stunts and so forth. And many times, especially as a driver, it is a bit frightening because you may see somebody pop a wheelie, right? They pop a wheelie on their bike in traffic. And what it is that always frightens me is, should they happen to misjudge and they fall back, and I am directly behind, and I not totally realizing I don't have enough time to stop, roll over, drive over one of these persons, right? So the thing of it is that while it is that they think that they might be skilled, the point is that they're coming to roads that they're not very familiar with, terrain that, yeah, it might be similar to their country, depending on the country that they come from, but they're also not very familiar with how people may be riding or driving on our roads, you know? So I always think that that is one of the things that that needs some serious attention. And, you know, even the sound, I personally don't have an issue with hearing the sound of multiple bikes passing, right? The vroom, 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 vroom. So I don't personally have an issue with it, but I do recognize that for some drivers, it can be frightening, especially if you hear the vroom sound just come out of nowhere, because the really and truly bikers come out of nowhere, right? They might have been behind, but you hear the sound and immediately they pass you, right? So, you know, I can understand it's being a little bit frightening. So ASP Panna Brown as well says that they have been coming here for quite some time, and we have seen where they are stepping up in terms of the number of persons that are coming. But they are stepping up also in terms of the way they conduct themselves on the road and the kind of activities that they carry out. So he says, when you are selling a product, you can't just sell a product in such a way so that people would buy it and come to our country, our shows, with the expectation that they come and do any and everything that they feel like. All right. He said that the traffic boss said organizers have the responsibility as citizens of SVG to explain the rules and regulations of the country. He said, you can't just come in a country and do any and everything that you feel like. We have to clean up that aspect of it. He says, we don't want to make it seem as if the organizers have the ultimate authority or power to bring them here and let them go on our streets to do any and everything and intimidate our motorists here. All right. So he did say that, I think I read somewhere in it, that he wanted to have a meeting or he has made a suggestion that they have a meeting with those persons coming in. But sometimes as soon as they clear customs and immigration, they're gone about the business.
So well, it's the meeting would have to, they would now have to organize to have that done before. So however form they reach out to these persons to make arrangements for them to come here, they probably would need to put something in that. So they have that information before they even leave their country to know when, what protocol should be or what protocol is when they get here.
Yeah.
And probably stop them, right then and there. I don't know how the process works, but
as we probably speak on this, maybe when they register, whoever it is that's bringing them in, when they register within the same vein of registering, then the information with regards to the rules and regulations of here in SVG should be sent to them. Now, sending to them and then reading it is two different things. They don't necessarily have to go hand in hand, but they cannot say that they were not informed. And really and truly, I do agree that when they get here, maybe even clearing customs and immigration, before they clear, you hand them this information, you give them 10 minutes to read through the documents before leaving customs and immigration, because maybe that might be the only way in order to actually ensure that more than likely they are reading and they are going to know upfront what the rules are. So if they find themselves in a position of trouble, that they can't say that they did not know, because at that entering the country, they were informed. All right. So I have to commend the police in terms of the efforts that they are making. Now, again, as Dianna said, is what we are hearing, we are reading, but enforcement is always something different, right? But at least they have stated that they are going to try. And we too, as citizens, as persons taking public transportation, can do our part to bring things, to have things under control. All right?
Yes, I have faith in you, officers. Make me proud.
But why you don't say you have faith in the van drivers and conductors to buck up themselves too? Oh, you don't have faith in them?
I have faith in my officers that they're going to. I have faith in my officers right now. I will get some faith for the van drivers very soon. Let's see.
All right, but as even as Joshua tried to did indicate, so while we are speaking about the negatives within the van culture, I don't want for us to leave with thinking that all the vans in SVG are the same, or all the van drivers and conductors are the same. All right. We do know that there are many out there who actually look out for their passengers, right? You know that a passenger is supposed to be there by the roadside for a particular time. Sometimes they stop and wait, right? Because they know that they're going to be there. So that is what we talk about, proper customer service in terms of knowing their customer, in terms of their habits, etc. And, if you know that the person might be a bit slow, or they're walking with a cane, or they need help with their bags, not the rushing to take you back from you to ensure that you go with your van, but actually trying to help you to get to the vans. It's those little things that we appreciate. And I remember when I was in Trinidad and realized that the maxis didn't have conductors. I was like, what? So I had to open this door myself. And I was like, no, so there were some vans, some maxis that actually did have conductors, but the majority did not have. So I always prefer to go with the maxis that had a conductor, because ain't no way I want to be opening any doors, especially if I had load, So I do have to appreciate and recognize the differences. As with in terms of Trinidad and here in SVG, I'm not sure about Barbados. I've never taken public transportation in Barbados, but the different Caribbean islands, things might be slightly different. And I also remember that a few years ago, there was a program that was on a Saturday night. It's Caribbean Vision, Caribbean Scope, Caribbean something or the other. It used to come on, and they were highlighting, that was so way back then. It's probably like in the 1990s. Ask me why my memory remember this, but anyways, they were doing a segment on Vinci vans, because for us here, we were painting, we were putting graphics on the vans, not painting. We were putting graphics on the vans. Our vans had names, so that sort of set us apart in terms of from the other Caribbean islands, because we actually put effort into making our vans unique and distinguishable, so while we appreciate that there are differences with our vans here, and that whole individuality in terms of vans coming out, we just need to buck up on the customer service, and knowing that there are many good ones out there who don't get as much viral posts as the negative ones. we just want to commend you and big up you guys at this time.
So I was gonna, when you start calling names, you just get in trouble. But I have to say, there's a conductor. His name is Mike from Clare Valley. If you know Mike, you know that he's one of those very courteous conductors who's always looking out for you, who's very patient, who would help you. Very, very, very amazing gentleman. Optimist as well. Big up my van Optimist. Ray from Vermont is another one of those good drivers. I've never had any issue with that van. Neither the conductors that he has. I guess he's choosing his conductors wisely to reflect his business. Very big up you. So Ray's another one of those vans from Vermont. I've never heard anybody complain about him as well. Can't think of any more at the moment, but there's most definitely are others. And when I get the names, I will write them down and I will come back and I will big up those great van drivers in the same time while we're talking about the bad ones.
And I just want to Steve. Now, Steve was a driver, and I know he listens to us on mornings. So good morning, Steve. Steve was a driver who used to work in Leyu, what the Leyu route. And I just want to big him up because he was one of those drivers who would be on the road when nobody else on the road. So I could have always counted on him to be on the road to take me home safely. And one of the other things too that I need to point out to drivers and conductors in particular, you see, for us as females, especially when we're traveling by ourselves, we do not want to feel as if we are going to be disrespected, right? We don't want to feel uncomfortable. And I have to big up many of the drivers, and one of them was Tanya from Vermont. Tanya died last year. Tanya was also one of those drivers who would be on the road late. And Tanya has never made me feel uncomfortable, right? Never been disrespectful. And the same with Steve. Never been disrespectful, never passed the place. And you see men like this, I would leave my hands, my life in their hands because I felt that safety, right? So for us as females, we just want to get to where we're going. We don't mind the small chat, but just don't get too personal. Please. Just don't try to get too personal. But it all goes back to customer service again. And we're just hoping to see a bit better or much more from our drivers and conductors as and I don't like to say this thing about, we help to maintain the life that you want to have, but it is a business. You are operating a business and we are your customers. So, treat us with a little bit of respect as well.
If you don't got us, who will you drive? Will you drive around air? Won't make any money doing that. So appreciate us, and take us into consideration. And I just want to add to the point Roleza made of the men, the drivers, the men that make us feel safe. I am really, really appreciative of men like that who you could just be comfortable around. And as she said, you could just place your life into their hands. So for you men who always make us feel comfortable, you don't pass your place with us, you don't say anything disrespectful out of the way, we appreciate you so, so much. Yes, and that's it for me.
All right, and that's it for me too. We went well over in this segment, which is interesting, but that's okay. All right, because these are things that need to be said, and in a way, hopefully, to bring about change. All right, folks. So we are going to head on out at this time, and we're going to head on out at this time.